Hey everybody, I just want to ask you a question. What keeps you up at night? I'm going to share a couple of things that they're deep on my heart today. Recently we had a shooting at one of our high schools, and I saw it on Facebook because somebody sent it to me, and they're young kids and they're just kind of beefing, and all of a sudden one of them pulls out a gun, and as they're running from one another, they're shooting behind themselves, and another kid gets hit, and there's another tragedy. And this is near where I live. And at the Power of Peace Project, we work with the kids that a lot of times are falling through the cracks, whether it be kids in our high schools, kids in the juvenile courts, kids in the juvenile detentions, or with law enforcement. And I get to see some things that you might not see. What you see is on the news. We see young people, smashing and grabbing, or we see people jumping on police officers, or we see these quote unquote bad kids. And we don't like to think about where they are, what they're going through, but I get to work with the ones that have made that mistake, had that bad day. I get to see their families. I think of one of the young men I'm mentoring his name is Marquez. We met at a juvenile detention center, but that kid had a dream. And for the last 18 months, I've had the joy and the honor to mentor him. And this is a tough kid with a real story and a family behind the scenes. And I often say, when we get close enough to another person to actually see them, feel them, and know a little bit about their story, their unique journey that we all have, it's harder to judge and it's hard to hate in this world where we're judging one another just by outward appearance, or where you get your news, or how you vote, or the color of your skin, or where you stand on the gender issues. And it's so easy to judge. You get close enough to these kids. Yesterday at the Juvenile Detention Center where I'm serving and helping the kids, I find out that this kid that I'm trying to get a breakthrough with, he accidentally shot his mom. It was a mistake, paralyzed her. He can't forgive himself. That's why he's walking around so sad all the time and so tough and so mean. I saw his teeth yesterday for the first time, and I've been working with this kid for months, and he smiled. And it made my day. I think about the juvenile courts where these kids have made bad decisions, and now they sit in front of the judge not knowing what's going to happen next. And there's families out there behind every one of these kids. They're growing up in a gangster culture where their hip hop music is gangster, glorifying sex and violence and drugs. They're playing video games like Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty 4, where they're literally killing people for 2 hours, and we're wondering why these kids aren't moved by the violence and the crime around them. Their brains have been numb to it. It's sexy in their schools, the bad boy, the bad girl. But behind every one of those kids are a kid that's afraid. They're afraid, so they're trying to act tough. They're afraid, so they're trying to get a gun. They're afraid, so they're using their social media to portray an image that's not even true. And we get to see into the hearts and minds of these kids, see the agony and the anguish their families are going through. And then once you start to feel them, they start to trust you and respect you and let them in. Lastly, I'll close with the story of this boy, toughest one in the juvenile prison, one of the ones that we get to serve in. Toughest kid in the one, out of control, off the chain, can't control him. And then I get one little bit of information, and it changes the way I see him forever. And an officer pulled me aside and he said, "You know what happened to that kid?" And I was like, "What?" And he said, when he was a little boy, his mom pimped him out over and over, and horrible things were done to this boy. And so the next time I went and I saw him and he was in another fight, getting put in isolation, I saw him through a different lens of a little boy that was hurt so badly that now I know how he became who he is. And I'm not going to give up on him. But some say he's beyond redemption. I don't believe that. Because in every one of us, there's a soul, there's a story, there are regrets, and there are also dreams. And that's what Protect the Dream is all about, is helping these kids build a dream bigger than themselves, one that has the ability to pull them through temptations and distraction and obstacles and failure, and give them something valuable to protect. And that's what Protect the Dream is all about. Join us, support us, donate. Come to our event on April the 16th at the Strand on the Square in Marietta, and you can see what the Power Peace Project is all about. Thank you for your support. We're all in this together. We are the power of peace.